Hey, mattphilleo here, and today we're going to work on the 16 by 20 portrait of the three children, and I am ready to start on the actual painting process. So that's the exciting part of the journey here, to actually put some paint to the canvas. And so if you're wanting to learn the initial stages of how to paint an acrylic portrait using the glazing technique to give you extra vibrancy, smoothness in your blending, and just overall realism to your artwork. Now's the time to watch over my shoulder, and I'm going to begin the process here in just a moment. I'm going to switch over to the other camera, but before I do, just like to ask a quick blessing on this session here, and just to make sure that I'm getting the creativity I need from God, who is the master artist. And so I'm just going to ask a quick blessing here on this session. Father, I ask you to anoint and bless my painting here. But not only that, Lord, to bless the students and just people that are watching this video. Bless them in their own painting ventures, their own artistic ventures. I pray that you would increase their creativity, that you would give them fresh ideas to paint, and give them the tools and the experience and the knowledge and everything they need to be able to do it well, that they can paint a picture they would be proud of. And so I just ask a blessing on this session here, that I'd be able to demonstrate it well, and that this painting here would look like the children that I'm trying to paint, that I would get their likeness accurate, and would really bless the client too. So I ask that in Jesus' name, amen. All right, I'm going to switch over to the other camera. Okay, I have everything set up here. And first of all, I want to, well, if you haven't seen this before, let me just kind of show you what's going on. So I have the portrait all sealed in. I use some clear acrylic medium to do that. And then I have the reference photo over here. I have it at an angle, obviously, so that they're vertical, lined up with the way the picture is. And basically what I'm going to do is just block in the background. But before I do that, I'll show you my palette, so you can kind of see what colors I use in my portraits. I have raw umber dark. I have burnt sienna. And then I have raw sienna, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, naphthol red, or organic orange actually, Indian yellow, titanium white, and of course I have some matte medium as well. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the mixtures as I work on this. I might need to change the camera angle just a bit so that you can see what I'm working on a little bit better. Just a moment. All right, and now before I actually begin to paint this, I want to mute it down a little bit. So I have some clear matte medium mixed with a tiny bit of titanium white and an even smaller portion of raw sienna. And what I did is I mixed it first into this container here, and then I poured some of that into this clean container and then diluted it even more with matte medium. And that's a good way to go, because then you won't have any streakiness that can come from the residue of unmixed portions of titanium white or raw sienna within your mixture. That'll already be all mixed and ready to go. But let's test this first, just to make sure it's not too opaque. I think that's good. You just want to basically see the sketch underneath. And the reason we're doing this is to just give an overall tone to the canvas and kind of mute the sketch down a little bit, because the glazing technique is so translucent it doesn't really cover the sketch very well, and we don't want that graininess of the sketch to show through the paint. And so this is a good way to kind of mute it down and prepare it. And I'm just going over the whole canvas, basically from left to right, mostly in vertical strokes, just smoothing it out. Kind of vary them up a little bit. I don't want them all too predictable. You want to be able to just mute it down a little bit and still see your sketch very thoroughly. And after it dries, it should dry just a little bit more transparent than how you see it while you're painting. Now, since I added the raw sienna, well, first of all, the titanium white is what actually mutes down your sketch. And then the raw sienna adds just a little bit of tone to it, so you're not working directly on a white canvas, more of an off-white canvas. Kind of gives you something to work with for your flesh tones and your background. Just spreading it out very quickly. Main thing is to make sure it's all even. Don't have a bunch of streaks or anything like that. And that should be good. So that mutes it down, but just enough so that I can still see everything very well. It's just not quite as stark of a contrast. All right, so now with this, I'm gonna pause for a moment. We'll go into the next segment. Yeah, I'm gonna pause it right here. All right, so I put that layer on to mute it down, and I let it dry. And now that it's dried, I'm going to get into the background. So I have a 1-inch brush, and I have some matte medium. And what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to get a little more. Okay, so I have my matte medium right here, if you can see that. And then what I'm going to do is begin the process of mixing some colors. I still can't, I guess you can see it there if I lift it up high enough. I'm going to do a background color using just a little bit of raw umber dark. And I want that background to be kind of a neutral grayish color. I'm going to mix some matte medium into that. You see I just kind of dab the excess off here, and then I'm mixing from this big pile of medium, and that way I can control the mixture and make sure I have just the right amount. I'm starting very light, maybe just a little darker than that. I want to actually see a change here. And we'll just go in and kind of tone the background a little bit. Cut along the edge. I guess I didn't have that mixture all the way mixed. Kind of cut along the hair, because that I want to be a little lighter. And what you want to do is just spread that out and get it very smooth by using strokes in different directions. And you work in sections. So I'm going to start a new section down here and meet it up to the old one. You really have to push that paint into the texture of the canvas. And that's very, very important. I'm going to need to tilt the canvas here because the light is shining off. I can't really see what's going on. So just a moment. Okay, I have that moved. And then I'm going to continue this mixture here, just mixing a little more. And I'm going to meet it up where I stopped at the top here. And you know how it is with acrylic, it dries so fast that if you try to work into it after it's begun to set, you get that blotchiness. And this is how you defeat that. You just quickly move across in sections. You see I got this smoothed out, then I'm going to reload the brush and start right here and kind of meet that up to the previous section, excuse me. And that way you don't have to worry about it being blotchy. We can paint right over the hair because the hair is dark. That part is not, but all these two children, their hair is dark, so we can actually paint over their hair. That's not a problem. What I want to avoid is going into their flesh tone, into their faces. Let's finish this off down here. And just try to vary up the brush strokes a little bit. And that's basically all there is to it. I'll just bring this down into the hair. Since I have it on the brush, I might as well do that because the hair will have to get darker in value anyway. So I might as well do it here. Can darken his hair as well. Can even bring this into the shadows because it has to get darker eventually. Might as well tackle that now. Use the paint that we have while we have it. There's even some shadow right here that we can establish on her shirt. Just begin to block in the overall look of the portrait. Even down here, if I want to say, have a little bit of a shadow under this blanket or pillow or whatever it is, begin to establish that as well. Okay, and now that that's finished, I can just let this one little spot there I wanted to hit. I can just let this layer dry, and then we'll go into the next layer. All right, so now that this layer is dry, I'm going to do another layer on the background, and then working into some of the shadowed areas on the faces and within, you know, the heads and shoulders, just basically blocking in these values here. So I'm going to take the matte medium and work a little more raw umber dark. I'm going to take just a little bit of ultramarine blue just to cool it down. And then what I want to do is darken this side more of the background and kind of blend it out into this area being lighter. And the reason for that is because I want there to be a darker aspect to this side to balance out the lighter part of her hair, and then also the lighter values within this pillow. This side of the picture overall is quite dark with the mass of hair and shadows here. So we need something to visually balance that out. So then taking this mixture I have here of ultramarine blue and a little bit of raw umber dark with the matte medium, making this glaze, I'm going to start in the upper left corner, and we'll just work our way across. And we'll blend it out. And I want to cut up right to the edge here, getting definition between the background and foreground. Now I'm going to thin this out, make a dilution glaze by adding more medium to it. We'll just extend this out a little bit. Might need to darken just in this area up here. It seems a little light. I don't want it to go all the way across. Add a little bit of that same glaze right here. And I'm just using some angled brush strokes to feather it out at the end. I think though actually right here it'd be nice to have a little contrast, because I'm going to have that light, you know, as you can see on the photo, that's hitting on her shirt there. So I want to something to contrast that with. So we'll just feather that out. And we'll leave maybe this area here a little lighter. And that'll give us something kind of interesting to work with there. Let's get another layer of shadows within the hair. I'm going to take some ultramarine blue and just work it in to this mixture. Now I'll really need to thin that out. I'm pushing the paint off the bristles, and then I'm adding more medium down here. That way I can control the mixture. And then we'll go in and we'll just darken within these areas. I'm going to need a smaller brush though to do this. Just so I have a little more control over getting some of these contours. And this is a size 6. It's about a 1/2 inch flat. Get some definition between her hair and the background. Just following the direction of the hair, and then I kind of go in and blend it out a little bit from that. Cutting in right along the edge of his face, her hand, always starting from the edges wherever possible and working your way out. It's the best way to go. Work within his hair. This is just a mixture of raw umber dark and ultramarine blue. And we'll just bring this up into her hair. Darken that. just to get the definition there between the foreground and the background. I was trying to keep that wet edge. Okay. We'll get a little bit of a shadow underneath her neck. It looks like there should be one there. That chin casts a strong shadow there, so I want to get that definition in the values. You can see how dark it is under that chin, and that's why I wanted to do that, darken this area. Now, one last thing, let's just take some raw umber dark by itself. We'll kind of blend this out to this shadow I had here. So you can see it kind of blends, and then it fades off into this area where there's the highlight. I'll add a little bit just in these few areas right here. And then I'll add just a little more shading in this area. Get some definition between the boy's shoulder and arm area and his sister's hair and shirt. I'm not concerned about the color yet because I'm only describing the darker values within the shadows. We can pull this shadow up a little bit higher here. We can fade this value into his neck. We'll need some definition there. Okay, and so with this, I'm going to stop this portion of the video, and I'll continue on with some more videos. So if you happen to be watching this in YouTube, I'm not sure if I'm uploading it yet at this point as I record, but if you are, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more updates, and watch more tutorials just like this. And also, you can go to realisticacrylic.com, and I have a whole bunch of tutorials there that you can read and watch and learn how to paint realistic acrylic portraits right in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to necessarily take a class at the university, but I would love to teach you what I know, and you can go there and browse the tutorials for free and sign up for my small email course, and then I have other courses as well beyond that to take you further in your painting. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to continue with this. There will be more, but I'm going to stop right here and say thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know if you have any questions, or how I can help you with your portrait painting. So have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon.